the objective of today is we're actually going to do something called a business model canvas, but we flipped it. So a business model canvas is this sort of really academic tool that's designed to really help you focus your business. But because you guys are in energy specific, spiritual type businesses, it doesn't often translate well. So Emily and I spent a morning going through all of the concepts and making it a little bit more applicable to the businesses that you have. So I'm going to let Emily take over and explain sort of what we have on the table and how we're going to move forward in terms of the session today.
I'm actually going to get you to close your eyes and pick one of these keychains, and I'll explain later. So on your key ring is an actual chakra and a word associated to that chakra. So if you want to take a look, like for example, we have the third eye, which is perfect for this artistic young lady here, and intuition. So if it doesn't resonate with you, meaning stand out right away, part of that is we need to bring more of that into our business. The other part is that could be what you really need to bank on in your business. So if everybody wants to pick a color, we can get started on cutting up the Bristol board, and I'll pass around the canvases.
So what you guys see in front of you, I don't know if you've ever seen the business model canvas, but it's essentially a 9-quadrant format of a business plan, but again, not as boring. So what'll happen here is Emily, like I said, is going to walk you through this exercise where we're going to actually have you put together this canvas in a vision format, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about each section. So this is the part where it gets uncomfortable, because now we have to start asking questions about our business in terms of, and it's in a language that you'll understand. So we're going to talk about what kind of customers we want to have, we're going to talk about who we should be working with, and then of course the most uncomfortable, which we'll save for the end, is how much we're going to charge. So. And this process is meant to be very organic. So hopefully those of you who are working on your own boards, feel free to participate with everyone else as well.
Okay, so along with these keychains, they're kind of, why I put them on a keychain was, one, I feel like we're opening up a door to new opportunities, and I do feel like it's something like, you know, you put the key in the ignition to get it started, get things warmed up and get moving. So that's the concept around these, is it's something that once we take our starting point, our starter step, it's opening the keys to not only our own success, our vision, but our business as we want it to be. Oftentimes we notice that business can be a bit of controlling us and not the other way around. So it's key to kind of understand that we stay in that consistent flow, as we like to call it, where you're not just loving what you do, but you're enjoying that process as well. So we just want to keep that energy and that thought process throughout the whole manifest canvas. We don't want any one of these blocks to feel what I like to call it, like that icky, like, ugh, I don't know if I can do this, that overwhelming feeling. Go back to your chakra or your intention or your color that you've chosen, and really see how that's going to open up some of those blocks and some of those fear obstacles that we kind of tend to put in front of ourselves when it's a little bit of the unknown.
One of the reasons why Emily and I really wanted you guys to do this sort of creative part of the activity is what you're going to find in your business as you develop it is every time you put your hands into it, and even not just metaphorically but physically, you'd be surprised how much you get out of it. So academically, I would often teach entrepreneurs how to do entrepreneurship, but they never put their hands on it. So we had a high failure rate because they didn't actually, it wasn't sort of real life. Whereas over time, as Emily and I worked with you guys on the sessions, we realized you guys are really organic and hands-on. You have to feel it. So in case you're wondering why we're making you do this part. The objective when you guys leave today is not only to have a bit of focus and direction, but Emily and I want to make sure that we've taught you how to do this as well. Because what inevitably happens is your business evolves and you change, things might change. You don't have to stick to this, right? So it's really about learning how to do all the stuff we're going to do today. I have my little cheat sheet here of the translation. So again, as you look at this, what I should have said, just to remind you guys, is the two most rectangular squares are the bottom of the canvas. So when you look at it, that's kind of the format of what we're going to do today. There we go. The two most rectangles, so we'll flip yours around. Yours is good, yours is good, yours is good, yours is good.
To me, that's the most rectangle.
Sorry. I should have had Emily explain that. There we go. I purposely didn't put titles in because as I explain each section to you, I'll give you a title, but we also want you to be able to put your own title. This is your canvas and what comes out of it. So what we often start with, and I know a few of us have talked about this in the sessions, is the idea of what your gift is. So academically, we call this your value proposition. Again, very boring. We really want to write down in the center rectangle, the centermost rectangle, even in point form, what it is that you do. What is it that's your gift? And you don't have to just write down what you were taught to write down in networking events. I really want you to think about it and think about what is it that you offer people. What is your gift? What is it that makes you unique? And you're just going to write that down in that center square. So a good example, yes, thank you, in that center square. So
And
a good
what
example.
title, Bob, sorry, did you put that as?
This
'Cause I
one,
liked
sorry,
it.
you're right. This one is your gift. So we'll label that one your gift. So academically, it's called value proposition. Again, really boring. This is your gift. And it could be a variety of different things as you're writing it in. What I also love to tell entrepreneurs is don't filter. So just verbal vomit everything you feel like your gift is. Hopefully there's enough space there, or just write really, really tiny. You can draw it too.
Yes.
If you're a creative visual person, please don't feel like you have to use the written word. However you wish to.
We have some magazines there if they want to cut anything out
And that's
too.
right, thank you. And we also, if you feel inspired by what you see in one of the magazines there, if you want to flip through it, this is the vision board component. If you feel like some picture there translates your gift better than you can in words, use that, right?
Because most of us here, our gift is of some sort of service, whether it's physical service to others, an intuitive service, an energy service. So go deeper than the label. Like go deeper into the point where it's not just I do massage. It's healing. It's therapeutic. Like go deeper. And if it's a service like financing, you give people peace of mind when it comes to.
What I wrote.
Ah, awesome. And if it's electrical,
Did you want to use the magazines
I
for
was
you?
thinking that you also give people compassion, because this is a worry. This is their home. This is where they live. So just kind of go deeper on a deeper level, because then you also have kind of a little bit of your why you're doing this.
And guys, again, this is meant to be a circle type format, so feel free to talk out loud, feel free to talk to your neighbor, feel free to talk to Emily and I. I think you'll find when you're in a group setting doing this, it's a lot easier because you can sort of validate or just hear new ideas. If it helps, a lot of you are already on your way. I want to give you an example, and I'm going to pick on Carol because she's behind the camera and can't throttle me. So let's use Carol's business as an example. So everyone knows someone who can do video, right? Carol's gift is the fact that she can tell you what to do with that video. So any videographer can come in, shoot a video, and say, here you go, have a nice day. Carol's value proposition or gift is people then say, well, I made this video, I paid all this money, I have no idea what to do. Carol can tell you, okay, well, based on your business, you should be using this, or try YouTube, or let's talk about Facebook, or let's talk about doing a campaign. That's a gift, right? Because oftentimes entrepreneurs, or anyone who needs a video done, they have no idea what to do with it. They're like, oh, I got this video, I was told to do a video, and now I put it on Facebook and got 5 likes. It's like, oh, that's unfortunate. That was a lot of money for 5 likes, right?
It happens. I do have, of course, some stickers, because I love stickers. I do have some really cool shiny gem stickers. And these silver gem stickers are your hidden jewel, your gem gift. So the one that really stands out above others. Also, it could be the one that if you already have a practice, it could be the one that's already bringing you some income in. So you might have a list of 10 things, but there's one that you love the most, one that you kick ass the most at, or the one that's already bringing in a steady revenue for you. And you're going to want to make that your gem, your jewel, your genius skill that you have. And if you want, you can put the sticker on there, or you can use some of the cool colors. So is there anybody that's not in the flow when it comes to their gift that might need a little extra boost, that wants to talk it out? Because we are the Masterfest session, which is mastermind and manifesting. So part of masterminding is where you actually get to talk with a group of individuals on the same wavelength as you about what it is that you do, and we can help really pull out some of those awesome gifts that you don't even know that you have. Okay, so if you want to talk it out, we can talk it out too.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
do you want to share a bit about what you have down?
Humor and laughter, straight shooter, Theta healer, energy healer, wellness, teacher, understanding, compassion, problem solver, creative problem solver, special ed, that for kids with special needs and their families.
Okay, so when you're reading that, even though your tone didn't change, is there one that just makes your energy, like your heart chakra, just open up, that makes you excited for the next phase?
Are you doing okay? Okay.
I think it's a combination of all of that.
Was there something in particular that stood out there with that whole process? I know Bob's talked about it before in our hot seat, that you have all of these amazing gifts, but if someone were to, look you up on Google, what would they look for? What would be that kind of hot topic, that phrase, or what, out of that whole process of the crystal grid, if you could sum it up, what would be that word? What would be that hashtag, that search
What I would
word?
like to have on my business cards, it's possible.
Oh,
I
So-
love it.
That's what I want on my business card.
This is a really good example. So you see how she's looking at results as opposed to just what she can do. So when you say it's possible,
Yes.
maybe play with that. Talk it out now. So what's possible? Out loud with us. What's
Anything's
possible?
possible.
Like what?
It's
What are some of the things people tell you that they don't think
well,
is possible?
Well, I feel like it's coming from the Theta healing and the reaching those families with the kids. That it's possible. It's possible for them to find peace.
Good.
Have more. As parents, they probably have a lot of guilt.
Okay.
To heal
Yep.
that and sorry, Tamara. But just to move through that and find a happier place.
Good.
Be content with that and find a place that's just like, it doesn't have to be as horrible as it's felt all these years.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
every time you look at this canvas, wherever you put it in your home, you're giving that intention power.
Okay. Before we move on, does anyone else want to share theirs just to feel like they got a bit of validation that they're on the right path? And we can always come back, so we can keep moving forward, and if you're ready to share. Ruby, did you want to share?
Sure. Some
Yeah.
individuals have greater mobility, reduce symptoms of stress, and encourage bodies to self-heal, ... with
Okay.
my hands, through my hands.
Okay. That's great.
And then I've got words like strength, life and balance, heart opening, and build core power.
Okay. So those are great. Those are really great tangible things that you do. Is there anyone else that has that same gift that can do what you do?
Possibly.
Okay. What would make you different from anybody else that could do what you do? That's okay. Why do you do what you do? Why do you do this? Like, why wouldn't you just get a job like we talked about last time?
I love what I do. I love watching the process, and I love healing people.
Okay. Okay.
I love to see the results.
Okay. But there's something very organic about love in your gift, right? So there's a lot of people that can do Thai massage, and they might like it, and they might be good at it, and they might say, well, I couldn't get any other job,
Right.
but do they love it? Like you,
Well, I have the ability to be able to change the modality if needed.
okay. So that's good,
So-
but again, that's mechanical. So what makes you different, right? It's that love. So those are really great points. As we go through the canvas, it'd be great to really focus on when we answer the other quadrants, think of that love. So what we'll do now is we're going to go to the rectangle to the most left. So this section here. Yeah, thank you, this section here. What you'll find on the business model canvas is on the left side we talk about operational stuff. On the right side we talk about customer stuff. But again, we're going to put it in language that you guys can appreciate. So the furthest most rectangle there, we're actually talking about what are called key partnerships, or in our language, what are those soulful connections? So when you run your business, who are the people that can really help you deliver your gift? And it can be really mechanical. It could be something as simple as my insurance provider, because if I don't have insurance, I can't do it. But hopefully on this canvas, you're looking at other people, for example, in this room, you're looking at me and Emily, or Emily and I. There you go.
I'm not the grammar
Grammar.
queen, don't worry.
Yeah. She'll dub it over. Emily and I.
Oops.
So what'll typically happen is, who are those people that can help you get that business to the next level? But also, who understands you? Do you ever talk to a family member, or do you ever talk to a friend, and they've been in your life for a long period of time, and you tell them what you're doing? What's that?
Like, and I said, they look at you like you've gone too heads.
They kind of glaze over. They're like, oh, that's sweet. That's
That's
nice, right? That's not really a soulful connection. And then you come to an event like Manifest Canvas, you share, or Manifest Sessions, you share something, and the love just implodes, right?
yeah.
It just flows. That's a soulful connection. So don't look at it as who's a good business partner. That's great. But really, like, who are those people in your life that can not only help you deliver on your business, but also deliver on you, right? I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for Emily. So for me, Emily is a soulful connection. So I could tell you, yeah, my insurance provider, Carol, my videographer, I could even say my mechanic who gets me here in 3 hours. But the reality is it's Emily that really helps me evolve what we're doing. Does that make sense? So think in your life, whether you want to use pictures, whether you want to write something down, whether you want to talk out loud. Who are those
do you
soulful
have some
connections?
samples if we gotta go around the room to help individuals? Like, for example, is it event planning that we're focusing on right now, Denise? Or what is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. I think it's going to evolve. So I'm sort of.
Okay.
I feel like I'm in between two worlds right now. So.
So do you have thoughts
Yeah, let's
on
talk.
that? 'Cause
Let's
you're
talk about the
experienced?
event planning. So is it specific to an industry?
I used to do I do everything.
Okay.
So and I worked a lot in corporate and festivals in Toronto and things like that. And now I'm up here.
Yes.
And so I'm trying to find where that fits in a culture, I guess, where everything is done by volunteers.
Yeah, we did talk about this.
Right.
So-
So that plus, I think down the line there's going to be something that I'm going to be involved in terms of energy healing, and they're two different worlds, but I feel like the event stuff is grounded in sort of.
Yep.
I think it's going to sort of do this, but the energy healing will be like. Ravenswood events will be here. Energy healing will be here. There won't be a huge crossover, but there will be
So-
synchronicities somehow.
So let's try this. So tell me about, in your entire history, what's the most favorite event you've ever planned, regardless of here or in corporate? What event you still to this day remember as your favorite event to put together?
That's easy.
There's always one.
Yeah.
See?
Oh,
There's always one.
Yeah.
In Hawaii,
Oh, okay.
at the Hilton
So-
Honolulu,
Yeah.
a concert with Chantal Kraviazik on the beach at sunset
Oh,
for Rogers
I got
and
shivers
the
on that.
telecommunications. That one, there's that one, and then the other one was a festival at the World Figure Skating Championships in
Wow.
London in
You
2013.
talked about that at our
Light Up
meeting
London,
yesterday.
where it was the World Championships, but it was a festival, and it was an arts festival, and it was for fans and things. And it was also like my
Ooh.
25-year high school reunion back to skating, because I hadn't been.
So those wouldn't be soulful
Yeah,
connections.
I was saying when he said it, when he was talking about that earlier, like
Yeah.
mine, it's like, oh yeah, I'm a psychic medium. It's like I go to church.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. You know, like you kind of get that. I get that reaction,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
from family members. So
Yeah.
it's kind of not going in that. You want to kind of keep your energy in that flow basis. So if you're kind of feeling right now that you're wanting to keep them in the two worlds before you move forward, that's why Bob mentioned this is an organic piece. It's going to be ever evolving. So kind of go where your intention is right now. So it might be the events planning, and you might put what do we call them? Soulful connections?
Soulful connections,
Soulful
yeah.
connection could be the chamber
Yes.
right now, because you've connected with the
Definitely.
chamber. They're already looking to help promote you as a member, but also they've booked you for an event. What about something for Soulful Connections, like in the electrical field?
In the electrical field.
Because I know that you might have some more
Yeah,
insight.
so in the electrical field, we get a little bit more academic, a little bit, not too much, right? So we look at what are some good alliances, right? So often, when we look at the electrical field, they're usually brought in through two ways. Number one, it's through a general, it depends, sorry, is it commercial or residential?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of
but
both?
more
So-
residential now.
Residential. So for the most part, it's either brought in directly by the general contractor, or it's generally brought in by a referral of another trade. So often what'll go, so when I used to install TVs, so low voltage cabling, we worked with electricians. So Soulful Connection for me was always the electrician. Now for you, you're working at the level of the plumber and the framer and the drywaller. In fact, you work in synchronicity with them. How many times have you gone to do a job and either the plumbing's not done, or you've done the electrical, then the plumbing guy came in and soldered something and cut a cable, right? So often building soulful connections in your scenario are, who are those trades that not only refer you, but aren't doinks? Right? So really, right, you want them to be good at what they do, because I've settled on working with partners, and it's just made my job harder. These Soulful for Connections for you are these folks, men or women that you work with. You actually have beers with them. I know the one I worked with when I did Homes on Homes, and I worked with the electrical contractor there. He used to invite me to his Christmas party. Like, we used to spend time with family. That at that time.
With Mike Holmes?
Yeah, I used to work with
I
Mike.
remember you talking about him.
Yeah,
his daughter
so-
was a good friend of mine in high school.
So I
Remember
did
that?
his daughter's show, yeah. And so Frank, who used to do the electrical, I don't know if it wasn't usually Frank, it was usually one of his team members. That was a soulful connection. And he never had a problem not only referring me to the show, but to his regular contracts as well. And so, in trade we have this idea of, well, I'll just talk to other contractors and you gotta find the right ones. The ones that, and this sounds silly, but it worked for me. Right down to they like the same sports team as you, or they have the same age kids as you. It's looking for that, and sometimes the only way to find them is go into job sites, and it depends also if it's a union job or not, which I'm sure you can appreciate, and if you're a union or not, sometimes that's difficult. So that would be Soulful Connections. It could definitely be a place. I know one of my
Partnership with a venue, you mean?
yeah, so one of my Soulful Connections is there's a co-work space in Newmarket I love to hang out with all the time. So that's actually technically a connection for me. It can be an alliance, so it can really be a partnership. It can be what we call co-opetition. So a lot of times, other electricians will tell you, I need you to do this job, Ty, because I'm too busy, can't get to it, and I know you won't make me look bad. In our, and you guys won't get this, but in our scenario, sometimes we kick them 10 points, right? Like sometimes we have to get them that extra bonus. But it's also joint ventures. So
Oh my God, I'm
that's
so
okay.
sorry.
So with joint ventures, a good example for me is I would partner with cable guys, or I would, so the guys that made the cable. So for you, it might be the guys that make the electrical panel, or Belden, the suppliers. And what's interesting about suppliers and Soulful Connections is sometimes they hear about jobs from other trades and they get you in. So it's not like, oh, I buy a lot of stuff from you, refer me. It's, hey, let's have this relationship. Christmas time, I'd go in and take them. So my supplier was Burtech, then it became ADI, and then Honeywell bought them. So at Honeywell, I would go in, it was a store in Mississauga, or a supplier in Mississauga, and I would go in and just take coffees and drinks, and I would do like a stand-up show really quick in front of them, like just whatever that made them remember me. I couldn't even tell you the amount of jobs I would get from them, and not because they liked me, because they knew they liked me was one reason, but I wouldn't make them look bad.
Right.
That's a huge thing in what was our industry, is they just don't want to look bad. And then of course, and then suppliers we talked about. So does that sort of,
Perfect,
that's a bit more
thank you.
granular for you, and then for the rest of you guys, it really is those people that support and make you feel like you can do what you do.
Exactly.
So feel free to do that as well.
Exactly. And if there's something that pops up in your mind that just came to you now, and you went, had an aha moment with it, I have these really cool eye stickers. These are what to watch out for, so what to look at again. So if there's a connection that you never thought of before, the little eyeballs.
You know what's interesting? I meet a lot of electricians like you that feel that
My
way,
husband
and then
does
I tell them
contract work.
they're no different than a doctor or a lawyer. These guys go to school for 7-8 years, and there's not one class on entrepreneurship. 7-8 years. It's no different for electrical. You have to apprentice for years.
Yeah, no,
There isn't
literally,
one class, right?
we were doing a kitchen reno, and we needed an electrician, and we called 4 or 5 people, and they're so busy we couldn't get a call back, and so Paul ended up doing
Yeah,
some stuff himself, but there's a couple of jobs we still need somebody
yeah.
to do, and
And Ian Cordick's really busy all the time.
Yeah.
Just
I-
so.
yeah.
I don't want you to feel like I'm picking any time, but I'm so attracted to that business.
Yeah,
I got to
no,
tell you. So here's a good
that's
example.
why I asked you to answer that.
because you know I'd verbal vomit on them. So one of the interesting things, when I started my business in the low voltage cabling, the TV install, one of my value props was telling people, I used to work for Rogers and Bell. I know exactly how your infrastructure works. When you tell them, I spent time at Hydro One, to especially do a commercial install, that's
They're
like,
like,
wow,
"Oh,
yeah, this guy,
Winner,
this
winner,
guy.
chicken dinner.
That really is, that's the reality of it.
tomorrow.
And that has an amazing value proposition in of itself, that you have experience You understand the grid as a whole. In everything that you guys do when you develop your business,
Yeah.
this is the boring academic part. Consumers really respond to the fact when they feel like you understand holistically where they're at, even in a business level.
Yes.
So Ruby, with all of your modalities, that's a really attractive value proposition because it's almost like, so here's a good example with Bell. The reason why they started hiring me is they had a phone technician and then a TV technician and then an internet technician. So if a house needed all three, it was 3 different people. So you would wait for one.
Wait
Ideally-
forever.
Wait forever for one. Hopefully they can complete it. If they can't complete it, you have to wait for 2, and then one can come back. So when you guys develop what you do, and we talk about all of these scenarios of what your business should look like, think holistically. So what is it that you offer them? That's your value prop. Most entrepreneurs are very specific. Like we talked about banks. I can give you a loan, and I can give you a checking account. Yeah, but I have this issue. My taxes didn't go in on time, and now there's this long-term thing, and I had to crash out my RRSPs, right? Anyway.
Did you look into our records?
So once we know ideally who those soulful connections are, we then try and move on what academically we call key activities. So in this scenario, this would be this upper square here. I will pull it up. Yeah.
Beside
This upper, this one here. This one we are going to call your
Not-
soulful activities. So academically, it's key activities. Boring. These are your soulful activities. And as the name suggests, you probably have all of these amazing things that you can do. But what I want you to do, or what we want you to do in this scenario, is write down all of those things you do, and then we're going to choose 1 or 2 to hone and focus in on. It doesn't mean this is only going to be your business. It's when you leave today, you'll have 1 or 2 actual business activities that you do.
like coming to Masterclass.
Like, well, that's good. It's more about, so for you,
Yes.
it really is the massage and it's the store, right? You have 2
Yeah.
soulful activities.
Yeah.
But if you write activities down that don't feel soulful, they almost feel like they make you want to vomit, these are the things that we're going to pull out of your business. And the soulful activities we're going to increase. And this last activity really is, academically we call it key resources, but for you guys, we're going to call it things that feed your soul. So, yeah, thank you, sorry, I forget. So we're going to use this square here, and these are things that feed your soul. So we've talked about soulful connections. These are the people to help you get to where you need to get to. We've talked about soulful activities. What is it you're doing in your business that you really love to do? If you don't love to do it and you write it down, it's fine. We're just going to ignore it. And then these resources. So these soulful, feeds the soul is, what do you need to do to deliver these activities? So if you say to me, well, I really, really love making tops for boats, what resources do you need for that to happen? And the resources can be something, it can be physical. So do you need inventory? You obviously need material, but it can also be intellectual. And we forget that as entrepreneurs. Do you need space? Do you need time away from the kids, from the family? What's that?
My farming, my birds.
Yeah, maybe it's having the birds around. For some people, I don't know about you, Emily, sometimes I need to just zone out, like almost, I almost call it a nap. Like it's really just kind of nap. And I've done it here
Energy
with you
boost?
once. Yeah, one time I just kind of napped and then came back. For other people, it's chocolate milk. It used to be chocolate milk for me. But what are those sort of that space that you need in your head to be able to deliver it? There's also human resources that feed the soul. So we talked about in Soulful Connections. Who are those people that support you? So a good example for me is that Newmarket co-work space. Sometimes I go there not just for peace and quiet, but to be around other people that are working away or that don't judge me. That's a big leap, but but sometimes it's having those as well. And then of course financial, right? So when we talk about the material you need, what are those financial investments you need? And you don't have to write down the actual financial number, but maybe just give yourself an idea of, I need at least this much a month. And a good way to think about that is, what's your monthly expenditure, personal and business? That's definitely a resource, because if you're not meeting at least your monthly expenditure, you're not feeding your soul, because you'll be stressed out. As we've gone through these 4 squares, you're already seeing how your gift needs these 3 activities or these 3 squares to really do well. So if your gift is providing possibility, but you're not actually feeding your soul to do it, and you're not actually developing soulful connections to do it, you're running on an empty tank. Like you're trying to make these things happen in the face of people who maybe not understand you, maybe judge a little bit, in the face of
Energy vampires. we call
energy
them.
vampires. Thank you. That's the word.
Yeah.
So
Oddity
if you were
in
to
a loving
say,
way.
if you were to say, if you didn't have that time with Deb, your business couldn't run. She would be a feed your soul, but she can also be a soulful connection. So feed your souls are the things you need to actually execute the business you're doing. Thais, for us, it's people like us, it's going to be more insurance. Right? So we wanted to feed our soul, but at the same time, maybe it's a really great insurance broker. Now, to be fair, none of these fields are exclusive. You know what Emily and I always talk about is this idea of flow and the nature of holisticness. This canvas initially started as very siloed. You can only do this. This means this. In the businesses that we have, our lives aren't like that, right? We believe in the ability of like that circle. So it's okay to have something in multiple categories. And in fact, that's great because then you know what when you leave here, what should you really be focusing on? If that one particular thing or person feeds you, it keeps popping up. That's one of the things when you leave, we're going to say, we need to build that. So now we're going to go on the other side of the canvas. We're going to go to this section here. This section is technically defined as define your tribe. And in this scenario, it's the opposite of soulful connections. Soulful connections are those people around you that help you execute what you're trying to execute. Your tribe is the actual customer. Who is receiving your gift? The receiver of your gift is your tribe. And when we talk about defining our tribe, we do it in two really important ways. I'm going to use the academic term, and then we'll translate it. So the first one is demographics. This is the idea of what's their age and their gender and their education background. For you guys, this might just be, who do you really connect with? Who do you really want to help? Right? If you say that I offer Thai massage, well, who is it that can most benefit from Thai massage and that you feel good helping? If you feel good helping CEOs that make $2 million a minute, okay. But if you tell me you feel good about helping athletes that didn't think they could do it, that's a demographic for you. So you can use age and gender, but I think for you guys, it'll be more holistic to just sort of describe those feelings, right? And then, of course, psychographics. So these are the way people think. So in your scenario, what are things they love to do? They're probably things you love to do as well, right? And so in this section, whether you're using something from the magazine, words, or whatever, write down those components. A good way, if you feel that flow being blocked, is think about someone you already work with that you absolutely love. That every day you get up, you're like, wow, I hope I can work with that person every day. Think about their demographics and their psychographics. What's their personality like? And sort of what are those criteria?
And anybody else who has existing clients, you might want to pick that one that's like your cheerleader or that comes back or comes to every workshop or every session. You want to kind of tap into their energy and what makes them tick and see if you can pull from that to kind of define your tribe.
And I describe those that get it.
Do you just write get it?
Get it.
See, and that's the challenge with this format in academia. You can't.
Right.
But you guys understand what they just get it means.
Yeah.
And you can draw that out a little more. Maybe they get it because, and we'll talk about emotion later, but maybe they get it not because of result, but because of how they feel or because they've seen results. So while you guys are finishing that up, I'm just going to move to the next section. And again, if we need to go back, we can. So we're actually going to move down to this square now. This square down here is the next one we're going to use. This one is, we call it, the academic term is channels. Boring. So we're going to call it...
Sound effects included.
Sound effects included. This section is how are you going to attract the very people that are in your tribe. So we do talk about the law of attraction in the universe and this idea that if you feel abundance and you think abundance, it can happen. That can certainly go there. I like to put a little bit more, not more, I like to add additional practicality. And by practicality, I mean, okay, so what are things that you can envision? What are ways that you can find these people? My first default answer for all of you will be the Zen Den, because you probably realize that there are a lot of people who are potential soulful connections, potential feed your soul, right? So you know that there's the Zen Den. So then you start articulating from that, what are other places that make me feel like the Zen Den does, that I can find people like that? But I would tell you, when you look at other chambers and other networking groups, they're usually very difficult for entrepreneurs like you because they're very centric around exchanging financial benefit. And a lot of you are here because you have this sort of part of you that's very relationship driven, that's very, your core is about service, that you're in service. So often what I suggest people do is attracting those people yourself. So instead of you going out to an event, certain trade shows can work. I like the Toronto Yoga Trade Show, not because it's just yogis, but there's also a spiritual one I think that happens in Toronto. I'm a fan of doing things like this. So I like to make my own events and then rely on Soulful Connections to invite potential people. Always ask me about credit score. You would not believe how many
That
entrepreneurs
could be a potential one.
who have no idea how a credit score works, because there's Equifax, there's TransUnion, there's the other two. They apply to CIBC, get rejected, but Scotiabank takes them. Like the credit. So if you were to say, I'm going to demystify, so it's really important to use words that resonate with you. I'm going to demystify what a credit score is for you as a person or as a business. Free 2-hour session, come on out. You're now
That'd be a biggie.
attracting, right? And use the words that we've written down in some of these sections here, right? You're going to attract the right people to you. And then it's a lot easier to, I don't want to say close, but it's a lot easier to build those relationships. I find, especially because Investors Group, the bank, they're already going networking. If you can attract your own clients, it's better.
So by you writing it down doesn't make it permanent. It's not there to scare you, but it's there to put it in your subconscious that this might be a direction you want to go. You writing it down gives you permission to realize that that could actually happen. Okay? Doesn't mean it will, doesn't mean you have to, but you've given yourself permission to put that out there that that is a possibility. I can do this. But right now you're in the baby steps, which is okay. This is just giving you permission. Should in the future you want to go that direction, you can. And that's why this is such an organic process that's always evolving, right? So even if you just put that up there, that therapeutic process is a potential opportunity, you're gonna feel that opening up a little bit more. Okay.
We've talked about what your tribe looks like. We've talked about how you will attract. And now we're going to talk about what are you actually going to attract. So you know what your tribe looks like. You know what you want it to be. You know exactly, or you're having an idea of how to reach out to them, whether you're doing seminars or whether you're going to the right events. But in this square, we're going to talk about what is it you're attracting. So you probably touched on it a little bit already under building your tribe. What is it? What part of your gift do they need? So when you say your gift is giving them possibilities, actually this might be where advocacy fits.
Okay.
Is you're attracting people that's hungry for that advocacy part of your gift. And it might, so instead of your whole gift, what is it, what part of your gift are they attracted to, are they resonating with? You may have multiple sort of different elements here that they're attracted to. So an example might be, how are you getting them in and how are you maintaining them? So this is the tough part, because here many of you probably have different things that you do. You're deciding here, and I won't say committing, you're making a decision to say, this is what I want to work on when I leave here today. It doesn't mean it's the only thing you work on, but this is what I want clients to know me as. So this is what my tribe looks like, this is where I'm going to find them, and this is what they're going to know me as.
Now you've met them at this networking event or workshop. How do you take them from a really good networking connection into an actual customer? Is that part of that as well?
So that could be part of the conversion, right?
Okay.
So when we talk about conversion, it's once you meet them, what's that? So this gets a little academic. So what's that process of setting up a phone call and talking to them about what you do, listening to where their challenges are, and this is the hard part, asking for the sale. So this is the part of, and you may divide it into 3 packages. So you're asking for the sale, this is this package, this is this package, this is this package, right? So you're acquiring them, you're maintaining them, and then how are you going to evolve them as a customer? So are they just coming in one time? I don't know if many of you were here for the session where I said, I'm a fan of residual. I always look at how can I maintain these clients on an ongoing basis, right? That's what you need to figure out in terms of what are you attracting? Are you attracting people that just come one time? Or are you attracting people that want a relationship with you? Once I meet someone, this is my next step. So in the scenario, as Emily said, it could be your business card. For me, I do it differently, and maybe because I don't have as traditional a business, is I put them on LinkedIn. So I put them on LinkedIn and say, can I connect with you on LinkedIn? And I do that for 2 reasons. Number one, generally my clients are more digital. It allows me to learn more about them before I follow up. But number two, it's a reminder for me because when they connect, it pops up as a new message. And so when I get back home, in case I've forgotten their name or whatever, it's in that LinkedIn messaging. This person's a new connection, this person's a new connection. Or actually, I'm redefining the funnel now as, I message them and say, it was great to meet you, Emily. Can we set up a time for a call? Yeah, absolutely, here's the time. Then we have the call, and in front of me, because they can't see me, I have the packages, because even I sometimes chicken out. So in front of me, when they're asking me things, I'm like, oh, that looks like package 2, or I hear them saying, and then I just simply read from that, and then set up a time. It's just following through in terms of what you're going to attract. What is it that they see you as? And how are you, like, what is that customer experience with them? Is it safety? Is it, I can think of the word. Like, I know you're going to do the job, so I'm not even worried. Confidence. Is it confidence? What are you attracting? Is it being listened to? So it's a very emotional word, right? You know what I mean? Tice, for you, it might be,
Expertise.
are you the cheapest tender? Right? Like sometimes, depending on the size of the job, right? Yeah, it might be price, or it might be that, actually, you know what? For you, it would be, they know you're going to get the job done.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any leftover things to fix after the fact.
Exactly, minimal extras.
Minimal extras. There's not going to be like last minute upgrades. Oh, this wasn't in the tender, so we have to add this. So we have, sorry. So we have the 2 squares in the bottom. So we're going to start with this one. Tracy, you might be okay with this one. Or actually, you know what? I'm going to start with this one because it's less icky. On this side, this one's called, it's less icky. This is the revenue. So energy exchange. So as Emily had said earlier, is this financial? Is this a barter? What is the exchange that happens between you and this potential customer? So often, as a business coach, I tell people it's money, money, money. But as soulful entrepreneurs, what you'll find is sometimes bartering can actually lead to more beneficial relationships, especially in smaller communities like Bobcaygeon. Sometimes it's easier to rely on someone with a skill set and exchange that skill set with them. There's nothing wrong with that action. But in this section, the objective is to really commit to how much revenue you want to earn. So we're going to start with what you need to earn, right? We're going to start with what that break even is, what your full-time salary is. And if you want to just make that, that's okay too. But if you want to have a little bit more to put away savings, to take trips, to put back into your business, this is what we're going to write down here. And then on top of that, we're going to write down what services are earning that. So if you say, well, I feel good enough earning $500 from this. Okay, but you need to make $5,000.
Right.
So it's almost
the
like a
rest?
quick math
Yeah.
problem. And I usually ask you to try and stay at 3 or less. Right? So for Tice, yours might be just as simple as residential clients, commercial clients. You can keep it that simple and then dig into, or you can do residential new, residential reno, commercial. It's up to you how you want to do it. But this is now me and Emily starting to ask you guys to make commitments. To,
And
as long as
filter
you're
it
comfortable.
down.
Yeah, filter it down. Yeah.
Yes, but it's not a commitment to anybody but yourself
Yes.
and your own ambition and permission to move forward in this process. Because I feel like when you put it down, it might change from here, but now you've put that, what I'm dreaming about and what I hope to be, you've put it down to, okay, I'm going to actually put my energy in this and work towards it. It's not just sitting in my auric field as a possibility. It's actually bringing it closer into actually happening. And it's almost like with the process of manifesting, if you're familiar with it, it's putting that intention out there. The universe goes, oh, that's what she wants. And then those coincidences start to happen. You're going to have that client, exactly what you're looking for, come in, or you're going to find that book, or you're going to meet a kindred spirit that might be doing something similar or the same as what you're doing. We're going to start making those links that might not have been made before because you didn't give yourself the permission to even commit by writing it down.
When I do this, often when I do this work in more urban areas, you see people say like, oh, I want $100,000 and $200,000. When I do them in Beaverton or Bobcaygeon, people just want a dignified life. They're happy to pay their mortgage, they're happy to pay their bills,
Get
and they're
some
happy
groceries.
to get some groceries, put some money aside for their children's future education. So this is completely subjective. Don't let the media tell you you need to be Richard Branson. This is what you feel like helps you sleep well at night.
So we're looking at
This is
monthly.
Monthly, yeah, monthly is ideal. What monthly would you like to have coming in as revenue? This is where we talk about costs. So this is
chakra back
throat
up here.
chakra.
So
So
okay.
So this is where we talk about understanding what it's going to cost to earn that revenue, to earn that. Oh, I've already lost my labels.
Right here.
Oh, thank you. So,
Mine are totally minimal.
what is the cost to earn that revenue? So, those things that feed your soul, is there a cost to them? Right? So, when we said things like having time alone, are you paying for a babysitter? Things like if you're delivering a service and you want to have business cards. These are the more tangible. What do you need to actually to feed into those things that feed your soul?
So rent, I know you
Rent,
have a
sorry,
Thai
yes.
massage studio,
Yeah.
your storefront.
Yeah.
Do you need a trailer, insurance, material? Do you have the drills and tools,
Mm-hmm.
software programs for financing, the inventory of
Certifications.
materials,
Certain
certifications?
certifications, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Websites, if you feel that you need that, or someone to hire to do that process for you.
Most of your service, the revenue would be energy output. This would be energy input.
Input.
That's fair.
Sorry, which one was that?
Sorry, the energy output. Sorry, input.
Inspiration expenses.
Inspirational expenses. Energy input, yes. And that's energy output. So what is the result of your
Do we
business, the
put
revenue?
the cost beside them if we know?
Yes, they could put the dollar
Oh,
value
absolutely,
here.
yeah. In fact, your energy input should align with your energy output. So if you're saying I need to earn, my energy output is this much in revenue in Thai massage, your energy input might be I need these 3 things to execute Thai massage. And if you say, well, my energy output is the store, your energy input might be these are the 3 things, or 1 or 2 things I need to energy input to make the store happen. For rent, yeah, rent, right,
Absolutely, yes.
right. So the more
Yeah.
energy input you can realize, whether it's your personal bills, some of you may even be supporting extended family members, right? A lot of us are in that sandwich
My
generation.
children downtown Toronto.
Okay, right? So
Perfect example.
this is meant to show you, actually, I need to earn more revenue. So either I add a new revenue stream, increase the current revenue stream.
They're going, oh God.
Yeah.
If you have like service charges, if you process credit cards for your service, or bank fees, or credit fees, and things like that.
Earlier we talked about soulful connections and feeds the soul, and we had talked about Deb and Emily Circle. So if there's a fee to attend Deb and Emily Circle, that is a cost you want to commit to. Sorry, that's an energy input you want to commit to, right? It really highlights to you what you're investing in as you do your bills with your bookkeeper, as you check your bills. If you're saying, wow, what's leaving my bank account is more than what I committed on this sheet. I missed something.
Yeah.
I might need to go back and look at, first of all, is that a valuable energy input? Maybe I shouldn't be spending money on that. For me, I'm horrible at eating out.
Yeah.
So often when I do my expenses,
Yeah.
my eating out bill is 4 times what a grocery bill would be.
Yeah.
So, but I don't realize it until I do my
Yeah.
bills, and then I'm like, oh, where did this $400
man,
go? Oh. So that's why this is another great graph to use, is you're constantly measuring it. So you look at your soulful connections, you look at what feeds your soul and those soulful activities. That's the operation of your business. That's what you need on a regular basis for your business to function. And then on the other side of it, as I said, this is the customer side. These are the people you need, right? So another way of looking at input-output, really this is another form of
Yes.
input.
Oh yeah, big time.
And this is another form of output. And then energy input and energy output. You've defined what your gift is, your value proposition, when you started. So now that you've done all of these other squares, this is a time for you either now or to go home and think about, do you want to go back and adjust your gift? Is your gift something different now? Or is it the same gift but you have a different way of delivering it? Right? I make you write it out first because sometimes what you think is your gift and then you write all this stuff out isn't your actual gift. I thought my gift was helping startups. My gift is inspiring entrepreneurs. And until I actually went through this circle, I didn't really get that.
I didn't talk about these little pearly little gems here because that's your pearls of wisdom. So if you have gone back and looked at it, or through the process you've had those aha moments, that's where these little pearl gems are going to. What you've discovered that you might not have known before you began this process. And then we have the little eyeballs for what to look out for. And if there's something that you touched on and you know you haven't quite fleshed it out or played with the energy enough, there's those little pencil stickers. Put that there so you know when you go home tonight, that's what you want to focus on. You really need to build that out a little bit more, that process.
For the most part, this is a business plan. So now when you leave today, you should know exactly what you need to focus on, or at least have an idea or a direction of what to focus on, and commit to what you see here. If it's overwhelming or you're still not sure, please reach out to us either individually or through the Masterfest page, and we can iron it out. But for the most part, this is direction. I'm going to skip.